Police say a 3-year-old boy who was knocked unconscious in Oberon over the weekend may have tripped on the tangled leads of the family's dogs. The child was left critically injured and police are seeking further witnesses to the incident. For almost 4 years, Bathurst's highly successful Tucker van has been providing hot meals to those less fortunate around the area, but it is at risk of closure in the coming months. Since 2010, generous corporate donations, along with support and donations from local businesses, has kept the van up and running. But increased running costs and shortage of community grants and funding has put the van's future in doubt.
You've got to apply for funding, and this year there's been a gap in the funding, and I'm not the only one that's struggling. There's a lot of other welfare agencies around the town that are struggling to get funding.
Even with possibility of closure looming, the demand for the van's meals is as strong as ever, handing out around 300 meals a week. A local Bathurst man is riding his bike to raise money for Crohn's disease. Ellie Parker takes a closer look.
Crohn's disease, an unfamiliar name for most Australians, but with 75,000 sufferers, the numbers are only growing. Young Charlotte Foster has suffered since she was 13 and has spent more than 300 days in hospitals. Her father, Rick Foster, has vowed to raise $50,000 for the organisations and to go on a little adventure.
It's just something we came up with when Charlotte was crook. We just thought it'd be good to give back to Westmead and Crohn's and colitis. I've always ridden a bike, so I just thought it was a natural thing to do. We're riding from Port Augusta in South Australia back to Bathurst, about 1,800 odd kilometres, and we'll be leaving over there on the 1st of March and hopefully be home in 2 weeks.
A recent study commissioned by Crohn's Colitis Australia reveals the $2.7 billion annual cost of Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. The report details the financial costs and economic burdens caused by these chronic illnesses in Australia.
Crohn's disease is a chronic gastro disease that affects the whole digestive system with ulcers. It's affected almost every aspect of my life. All through school I'd constantly have time off and then have to come back and catch up on all the schoolwork I missed, and of course it affects everyone around me, all my family and friends. So yeah, it's been a huge factor of the last 6 years, unfortunately.
Construction is well underway on a new community park near the Macquarie River in Bathurst, creating opportunities for locals to participate in the community service. The building of the park coincides with the federal government's new Work for the Dole program, forcing those who receive the benefits to commit to 25 hours of community service and apply for 40 jobs per month.
What they're doing down here will give them an experience, and then when they go out there and have a resume, well, at least if they've been down at the community garden and built something that, hands-on.
Despite the positive feedback from the program, there are concerns about the required number of job applications versus the number of jobs available in small towns. But with companies like registered training organisations Verto, help with job seeking and industry training is available to those concerned. The park is expected to be completed by the end of this year. And finally, a family of rare albino wallaroos has been identified on Mount Panorama during a research project conducted by the University of Technology, Sydney. The project was launched in response to calls for a kangaroo cull before the Bathurst 1000 in October. Locals are advised to drive carefully around the area and keep dogs leashed when in kangaroo habitat. That's all for the Word Out West local news. I'm Jessica Nagel.